Welcome to the Schmoeville podcast, that recap podcast that talks about your Schmoes. Christian Harloff, Mark Ellis, the entire gang, and, you know, everything that's going on in their little YouTube world that they've got going on right now. My name is Ryan Snelling, and I actually really enjoy the Martha plot point in Batman v Superman. I am joined by the guy who plays second fiddle every week but doesn't mind, Luke Jaggers. What's up, man?
Hey guys, I'm over here fiddling away, and I also enjoy the Martha plot point. So
I feel like it gives more pathos to those characters, and it blows my mind I went 25 years without realizing that they both had the same name.
Right.
Incredible. I actually enjoy that plot point, and I don't even really enjoy that movie that much. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I am so happy to have you back on. I don't know. We mistreat you here at the Schmoeville podcast. You know, the original plan was to have John Roca on the show today, but I believe he was at work and he got stuck there and he couldn't watch the Schmoes tonight. He couldn't appear on this podcast, so I grabbed Luke real quick, and I'm glad you're here because you're a night owl like me, aren't you?
Yes, completely.
Yeah, we're up late all the time, and we're recording this on a Thursday night. This is the second time that we've done this. Usually we record Friday mornings, me and Paul. It's usually how we did it. But you know, I feel like we have a good energy, and I'd like to kind of just get it out of the way. And I don't know. I liked our last episode when we had Noah on. It was pretty good, right?
Same, yeah. I really enjoyed myself on the last episode, and plus, like, it's right after the Schmoes show, so it's fresh in our mind, so everything that we're going to be talking about tonight is going to be just rolling off the tongue because we literally just got done watching it 15 minutes ago.
Absolutely. I just want to do some housekeeping real quick, just to kind of talk about the Schmoeville podcast schedule. I got a full-time job. It's in retail. My shifts rotate and they change every week. I am very much committed to this podcast, but I just have no idea when I'm going to be able to record these. I'm hoping that I can do it. I would love to do it every Thursday night and just have it up early Friday, but that's not always going to be the case. So it might be a little all over the place every weekend, but I'm going to do my best. You might be listening to this on the SK Podcast YouTube channel. If you are, just know that this is also going up in the Schmoes Know podcast channel, the main channel, where you get the Schmoes Know live show, that podcast channel, alongside with the Harloff podcast and now Riley Roundtable, all that stuff. Go there, and if you haven't already, subscribed. And if you're listening to it that way, then just know we're on the YouTube channel too, the SK Podcast. So either way, we appreciate you listening, and I'll do my best to get it out as consistently as possible. Yeah, really exciting, by the way, that I'm on that channel. I'm super stoked. So, we're here, you know, to talk about the Schmoes. Let's get into stuff that we watched on Collider this week. So, I think it was actually our last episode when we talked about fan fatigue, and I thought about it more and more. And it's funny because this week I'm going to rely on you heavily with this episode because I didn't watch a lot of Collider this week. I'm not going to lie. Like I said, part of my new job, it's kept me busy, and I haven't really gotten around, especially with movie talk. I think I might have only watched it once this week. It's just the way my schedule worked out. But, I mean, you pretty much watched everything, right?
Yes, I watched literally every show because I don't have a life.
Even Jedi Council?
Yes, I watched that today because I got off work early today because we're super low on ads to do this week because of the holiday weekend. So like I've been getting sent home the past couple of nights, and it's been super nice, obviously, because I get to watch everything at home on my big screen. So it's been really great watching everything this week, honestly.
Don't lie. Have you ever watched any like Collider or Schmoes material at work?
Yes, every day. Are you kidding me?
Oh, every day you're allowed to?
Every single day.
I was thinking it was going to be this like real controversial thing, like you had to hide it or something.
No.
I know a couple of people, the few people in Frankfort, Kentucky that I've heard of Schmoes. I know a couple of them that are able to watch at work. By the way, shout out to my coworker Will, who was new. By the way, he listens to this now, knowing that he knows that I do it, which is kind of weird because it kind of blows his mind. But he started working with me where I work, and we had this strange conversation. It was like our very first conversation, and it was before I went full time. And he was asking me a little bit what I do, and I hate explaining podcasting here in Kentucky because no one knows what it is.
Yeah.
Let alone when you start to explain that you podcast for the Schmoes and you have to explain like who they are, and it sounds really simple, but it's not to people who just tonight they talked about like what their families think of their fame or whatever, and some of them were talking about how their families just don't really have any idea of what they do. I mean, that's everyone in Kentucky. So no one knows what's going on. So I didn't want to explain it, but he kept asking me more and more about it. And he's like, yeah, I watch that all the time. And he started throwing the names out and what he liked to watch. And I was like, oh, shit, that's nuts. Well, hey, I do the Schmoeville podcast. So that was just a really kind of funny coincidence. But anyway, so you watch it at work. What a terrible employee.
Yeah, I do. I'm a great employee, actually. All Collider all the time whenever I get a chance.
So let's tell me a little bit about it. What did you? I did catch TV Talk. Yeah. And I did catch Top 10, which we'll talk about later. But so what was good on Collider this week?
Had to tune out of some of TV Talk because spoilers galore for Game of Thrones season 6, which I'm not caught up on. I'm on season 4, so had to tune out a lot of that for that, and also for Schmoes tonight, which we'll get to. But
yep.
So much fun as always. Movie Talk is same as always, pretty much. It's movie news.
Well, no kidding. Great analysis.
Yes. Thanks, Ryan. Heroes was super cool this week. We had Jason Inman on as what? No, that wasn't Jason Inman on.
No, it was Ashley Victoria Robinson.
Yes, Ashley.
And I only know that because of Instagram. I did not see the episode yet.
She is great, and she should be on more because, oh my gosh, she knows quite a bit of stuff, and I love her like talking on the show is just so good. Yeah. And like hearing her dynamic with John Schnepp and Robert Meyer Burnett, which I love Robert Meyer Burnett, by the way. He's like so good. Oh, yeah. I love him. He's so funny, and Hot Toys extraordinaire and all that fun stuff. But yeah, Heroes is my favorite show and has been for a while now, just because John Schnepp is like, he's so goddamn funny and like he's so outrageous. Heroes is just good every week.
I think Ashley Victoria Robinson is very lovely. I really enjoy her. I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but like my favorite podcast to listen to is actually Geek History Lesson. So yeah. I really, really love seeing Ashley and Jason on anything. And I'm very happy that aside from, the recap show, I believe he did the Arrow recap show with Makuga. I'm really glad to see that those two are getting more involved with Collider. So thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of those guys. Oh, I did catch the Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition review that they put out. The Hero Special. Same. I did watch that. I was very curious because I don't want to talk about too much, but this whole thing, like last week with DC and Justice League, and just everything that's gone on the past like couple years involving Batman v Superman, it is honestly the most fascinating like string of movie news that I've ever experienced.
Draining.
Like even it's crazy. But anyway, so I was very intrigued to hear that first review of the Ultimate Edition, and also really like. What do you think of when they invite Frosty on?
Love it.
Do you enjoy? You like it? Yeah,
love it. He's so good. He's a great follow on Twitter. Follow him on Twitter. He's very knowledgeable. He's a great writer, obviously, and like he goes to everything, it seems like, and it's so cool to like see where he's going and everything. So like he's great on the shows. I love Frosty so much.
I'm proud to say that for years I read Slash Film. Like Slash Film was the first movie blog that I ever read. But I mean, I'm a convert. I've switched over to Collider ever since, and I told Ellis this. I was like, ever since I found the Collider Video YouTube channel, it ruined me for reading blogs, and I rarely do it anymore. But yeah, I'm Team Collider all the way, and I've got it bookmarked up there for you guys for sure. Yeah, I love seeing Frosty, Robert Meyer Burnett. Oh my God, he roasted Phil, my co-host on Film Beef, so hard on Twitter one day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Phil. This was like early in May, and Phil was not high on the X-Men Apocalypse trailers. Mm-hmm. And at the time, RMB said that he had seen it because he's friends with Bryan Singer. Yeah. And I tweeted out at Robert, it was like, hey, Phil is trying to sleep on X-Men Apocalypse. Can you tell him why he shouldn't? And he said something like, maybe Phil's just that upset about his sex life or something like that. And it was the funniest shit because, for one, Robert Meyer Burnett has no idea who Phil is, and he just insulted him, and I cracked up because Phil was like, oh yeah, man, why do you have to insult me? And it was fucking hilarious. But yeah, I enjoy him a lot, and he reminds me a lot of my friend's dad, so I'm very partial to him. There's some shitty info for you. No, But yeah, I was a disappointing fan this week. Like, I have no business hosting this podcast today because I did not get to watch a lot, unfortunately, and it was entirely due to my work schedule. So I apologize. Should I watch Jedi Council or Heroes before go to sleep tonight?
Watch Heroes, I think.
Suck it, Christian. No, I will do that. So let's talk about Schmoedown.
Yeah, Schmoedown.
So last week we had Sam Levine versus Jeff Snyder, and I told myself that I was going to rewatch the Schmoedowns before I do this podcast. That way it was fresh in my memory. I didn't. Again, I was so busy, but I went with Sam Levine only because I just figured he's a human IMDb, sort of like Scott Mance. Yes. And I still don't know a lot from Jeff Snyder yet, but I clearly favor Sam Levine more just because, Jeff Snyder I don't hate him or anything, but he just kind of put a weird taste in my tongue, so please don't take that literally. I went with Sam Levine, and now that I'm sitting here, I don't think I remember who fucking won.
Sam Levine won.
Okay, that's right. Yeah. That's right. Which is funny because Christian said that I get it wrong every week because that I have what he calls a stupid theory. but I'm really gonna analyze what they talked about tonight between Ellis and JTE. Yeah. And because I think I'm not gonna reveal it because I'm scared, but I think I know who wins based on the commentary. So I'll just keep it to myself, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. But we'll get to that more here in a second. So who did you pick before when it came to Sam and Jeff?
Sam Levine. He's just a force to be reckoned with.
And there were several occasions when, like, there was I could never count Jeff out. Like, it was a very close match, and there were several questions where it looked like maybe sometimes they were just getting the wrong questions. Like, you could tell that sometimes Jeff knew Sam's questions and vice versa, and that happens usually, but I just felt like I could tell that more. Like, it was kind of like really frustrating, and I thought that made it a better match. Could you see that?
Yeah, for sure. He's just like so good at what he does, and like I'm blown away by like how good he is at this.
So when we're talking about the match for tomorrow, JTE, yeah, I feel like this is a Clash of the Titans, sort of like Harloff's episode or match with Andy Signor. So you've got that like Schmoes versus Screen Junkies vibe still with these two, and right now JTE is one of the most hated people in the Schmoes Know universe. So what are you looking at going into tomorrow's match?
Here's the thing. I hate JT with a passion right now. He is little evil to the max. Right. He is playing it up. He is, he's being rough on the Schmoes crew right now. But
a but? No way.
He's going to win tomorrow. JTE is going to win tomorrow.
What?
I'm
what
going on record saying that JTE is going to beat Ellis, and he's going to do it in the second round.
Like, as in, like a knockout in the second round? Are you crazy?
He's going to give Ellis a knockout in the second round because I think JTE has lost the past two games, and he's been on his shit, studying. He's been getting ready for it. And I think Ellis talks this big shit, but I think Ellis isn't prepared. I don't think he hasn't played a match in a while, and I think Ellis is gonna get smashed, honestly. So I'm Team Schmoes forever, but I really, really think that JT is gonna win tomorrow, without a doubt in my mind.
Very interesting. So are you playing off of what Christian said a little bit? Because Christian said that it was gonna go to Ellis in the third round. So you're thinking that Harloff is throwing out complete bullshit.
Yes, complete bullshit.
Interesting. Well, I hate to disagree, but I'm gonna go with Ellis. I just have a feeling, and I don't want to discount JTE because he could he could win, and I know that. But I've just got to root for Ellis because, you know, I'm not a real big fan of that shit-eating grin that JTE has. And he looked like a baby tonight. And I was watching the chat room. I couldn't watch it on my Xbox tonight because my internet was going crazy, but it worked on my computer for some reason. So I don't usually see the chat, but I was watching the chat, and they pointed out, and I wasn't paying attention, but JTE looked like he was a whiny little baby with his arms crossed. And he looked hilarious. And I know, I haven't been to the Facebook group yet, but I know plenty of people screenshotted it because he looked pitiful. And I don't know, there's just something about, I'm just rooting against him right now. And maybe I'll come around and maybe I'll root for the heel, but there's just, I'll just say that, yes, it's hard to determine who can win. I mean, I can't count either of them out, but I just have to root for Ellis. But I don't know. Ellis was getting close to becoming a little heel today because he was getting really pissy as well. He snapped at Miri.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, the nerve. Think of how many Schmoeville fans erupted with anger because so many people love Miri.
Oh yeah, she's great. She is the nicest lady on Schmoes crew, I think.
Were you about to jump through your computer screen and grab Ellis by the neck?
Yes, he's fucking on one. What are you doing, Ellis? Get off the beers. What are you doing?
Get off the carrots, man. God.
Yeah.
He's turning orange with rage. My goodness. Yeah, I got to go with Ellis. I don't know, Luke.
We will see.
Yeah, we'll see who's right about this, me or you, for sure. Yep. Let's talk about some other things. Did you listen to Harloff podcast with Clark?
Yes, I did. I love Clark Wolf. She is great. She is very funny. She's very pretty, obviously, and she's very smart for what she does. And she's very confident in everything that she says. And her talk with Christian was just all around fun to listen to.
See, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and the Harloff podcast I enjoy, but it's also the easiest listening I've ever had with a podcast. It just seems to go by so quick.
Yep.
And it's always just interesting. And there's certain podcasts I listen to where I'm a fan of the show maybe, but I'm not the biggest fan of the topic because sometimes you just go in and out with certain episodes. Some episodes aren't your favorite. But when it comes to the Harloff podcast, he's always going to be talking to people that I'm interested in, really. I mean, there's no one on the crew that I would hate to hear from because you don't know a lot about these guys' personal lives. And that's why I like having people like RB3 and whoever else has come on this podcast. I love learning about all these people that I watch every week. So it's just always, in my opinion, going to be good. And it's always going to be different because, everybody's got their own story and stuff. So I have not listened to this episode, but I'll probably get on it tomorrow. I'm very, very excited to hear that, and I'm glad you enjoyed it too. And they played a clip of it during the break today, one of Copster's breaks. So it sounded fascinating, even though it was only a few seconds. So I'm really looking forward to that. And speaking of podcasts, by the way, we talked about it a little bit a couple weeks ago after the announcement, but the top 10 transferred over to Collider. It was originally one of our brother podcasts on SK Podcast Channel. It is now a Collider original. Do they use that term? I don't think so, but I'm coining it. It's a Collider original now, and so it's if y'all haven't seen it yet, it was awesome, and you need to go watch it. And I was a fan of the podcast originally. I'm pretty much in favor of anything top 10 because I'm a massive David Letterman fan. But I was a fan of the podcast before. And so I was really, really intrigued. And I don't know if a lot of people know, but like Rocha is somebody who I've known for a while via podcast. He has been a very good friend to Film Beef over this past year, and he was on several of our Game of Thrones recaps. He's reviewed a few movies for us. So me and him have talked a lot, probably more than anyone else in the Schmoes Know universe. But I was very, very excited to watch the top 10. What about you? What were your thoughts going into it?
Super fun. Matt Nose is really, really cool. Yeah, like super fun first show. Haven't listened before this, but I'm super intrigued by it. So
if you listen to podcasts, I know you listen to Hard Life, but if you're into podcasts, I suggest going back to their actual feed, their podcast feed, and also some old episodes on the YouTube channel, because they did these episodes called Thunderdome, which was basically a retrospective movie review, and I enjoyed those as well. Especially when they did a lot of movies that I love, like some personal favorites. So I loved listening to their perspective. I don't know a lot about Matt Nost, but I really, really like him. I know that he looks and sounds just like Sam Rockwell, yes. Which is hilarious. But I'm very much looking forward to this show. And
yeah, same.
The thing about Rocha, and I was going to talk to him about this, and maybe we'll bring it up again next week if he's going to be on. But the thing about Rocha that I like is that he's an abrasive personality, and anyone who's watched him on movie fights knows this, and especially the Schmoedowns. The Schmoedowns with Scott Mance, those two make the Schmoedown like it peaks. Like Schmoedown can't get any better than Rocha and Mance. The thing about Rocha though is when he is revealing his opinions on something, he is very like, his feet are to the ground. He knows what he likes and he knows why he likes it. But for some reason, when he speaks, you may not agree with him, but he kind of makes you agree with him. Like he comes up with some really great points that you might originally disagree with or just haven't thought about before. And just the way he can eloquently speak about movies, he makes you like believe him. And that's what I really like about Rocha. And he doesn't do it like in a forceful way, really. And he probably doesn't even know that he's doing it. But I just think that's one of his best qualities as a speaker when he's on Movie Talk, and especially Top 10, when, their episode this week was Top 10 Spielberg movies, which, he's my favorite filmmaker. I think he's the greatest filmmaker. So I was all in for this episode. But that's what I really like about listening to Rocha. So, yeah, I just thought it was a great episode all around. I think this is unique to the Collider channel. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit loose. But I really, really appreciate it. I mean, can you see this show doing really well over time?
Hope so.
What would you like to see them do next? Top 10 idea. If Rocha was listening, what do you want them to do?
Something to do with horror, really, because like horror is my shit, and hearing their hearing their stuff on horror would be great to me. So like maybe like how about top 10 slasher movies maybe? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Slasher movies.
And without a doubt, I'm sure that's coming, especially when we get to October. I'm sure they'll do something similar to that.
I'd love that.
And yeah, for sure. They might have already done it already. Check the back catalog. I know they mentioned that they're kind of ignoring the back catalog, and they might do some lists over, especially since their opinions might have changed over time. So, but I don't know. That might actually exist. I'm not sure. But definitely guys, definitely support Top 10. You want them to get great numbers. People are coming out and showing up for like Nightmares and all the other shows, so make sure you give Top 10 the same amount of love. Again, I really enjoy it, and I can't wait to talk to Roca. If you guys listen to this podcast, I think he's coming on next week, and if he does, I will let you know. The best way to find out is to actually follow me on Twitter at FilmBeefSnell, and I'll throw that out at the end of the show. Or you can tweet at Roca and tell him that you want him on Schmoeville podcast. Actually, do that too. Just all of the above. Do all that stuff. And we'll discuss more about Top 10 and everything John Roca. So I think that's about everything. I think that covers everything. Let's get into the Schmoes Know number 239 Game of Thrones Season 6 recap. Are you ready, Luke?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
I don't think, since Phase 6, I don't think I've watched any less of a Schmoes Know show than I have today. For a couple of reasons.
Same. Like, I tuned out so much during tonight's show, and I, like, not for any certain reason, really. It's just, like, I was just in a whole other place tonight, and I had no idea why, and I was just like, okay, well, not prepared for tonight's Schmoeville podcast, but here we go.
So I didn't mean it like in a tune-out way. The show was about something that I just couldn't watch. And I know, obviously, that we're going to do it. This is not a commentary on quality of the show by any means. It's the fact that I'm a loser, and I'm not caught up in Game of Thrones. Yes, I get all the hate in the world for my friends make fun of me all the time for not being caught up on Game of Thrones, yet hosting a movie/TV podcast. So yeah, I'm not caught up. I'm a loser. So I had to sit out, and I drove to McDonald's during the live show. And, I just had to kill some time. But anyway, that's okay. Obviously, that's what they're going to talk about. But before we get more into all the stuff that they did, let's talk about Schmoesknow.com real quick.
Yeah.
So that debuted, and I checked it out, and it's pretty cool. And I'm actually going to pull it up right now so that I can update it.
I should probably do that too, because I have not been to it yet.
It hasn't, like, they did a soft launch, so I didn't expect them to completely change everything. But as I'm looking at it right now, it's very, very familiar to what the original site always was. But, they're not going to put up, like, movie or not movie news necessarily, unless someone has if someone wants to submit an interesting article, that's fine. But they're under the Collider umbrella, so obviously they're not breaking news or anything like that. I just really think this is going to be cool. I know it's not quite done yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing what else that they come up with. I know that Riley and all those admins are working hard on it. Like right now, you all can submit articles if you didn't know, so feel free to do that and submit, and yeah, just enjoy it. I mean, it's pretty cool. Chris Galicki just did like a retrospective of the show Chuck, and there's all kinds of fun stuff on there, so definitely go check that out. But yeah, I'm really glad to see that the website's back, because I'm a little bit of a writer, Luke. I don't know about you, but I might be submitting some pieces. Do you get anything out of the schmoesknow.com, or are you more into like the Facebook group, or what do you think?
Yeah, I'm super stoked about this, because I would love to write something in here, because I love writing. Have my own blog, which I'll plug at the end. I love this stuff, and I'm really excited about this, honestly. And like, it looks super professional too, so I'm excited about it. I'm excited for the future. For sure.
I think based on, was it last week? Oh, it was it was the week before. And Jason Inman's Schmoedown, he used the lost numbers, and he got boos from the crowd behind camera. And so I think I'm going to write a piece on the lost finale and shut some haters up for sure.
Haven't seen it.
Okay.
Haven't ever seen Lost.
Moving on. Check out schmoesknow.com. RB3, this video of JTE playing the piano, I pretty much have been a fan of all the videos. I thought that the piano playing from JTE could have matched the music a little bit more. But overall, I love these little weekly bits that we get from RB3. I think they do a lot for the show. What do you think?
Yes, he's fantastic. Super funny. Laughing out loud whenever I saw it because like his hand gestures are fucking ridiculous. So it's super funny.
You just had to throw in fucking because
yes, I did. I fucking had to throw in fucking Ryan
because you're on this anti JTE kick right now.
I'm on this whole thing about JTE.
Anytime you can throw a jab, you'll do it. No, I also. I don't think Christian mentioned this, but RB3 was great on the mic tonight.
Yeah, he was.
Talking about the Batman. I think that's the second. I think he came on camera for a game. I don't think he was on for the Ask Me Anything, the questions game, whatever that game was.
Yeah.
That was like after hours. I don't know if he was on that, but he came on for a game, I think. And other than his introduction to the crew, I don't think he's been on camera.
He hasn't.
In Phase 6. To speak. So, I know he does all the work. He does the filming for the SK podcast videos and stuff, but I thought he did a great job on the mic tonight talking about Batman v Superman.
Yes, he did.
Really
I'm
good.
Super proud of him. He did great.
Kudos to you, RB3. I know Christian gives you all the love in the world, so I guess you don't need mine, but you got our love. That's for sure. So one of the segments that we did get to watch, Luke, I hope you did anyway, I'm sure you did, Brett's mom, Brett to the Future.
Shit.
This whole segment was so much fun. What did you think?
Yes, it was so much fun. His mom is adorable.
Is that it?
Yes. His mom is freaking adorable. That's all I have to say. Is she's hilarious and she's so great, and it's like so cute seeing him talk to his mom about movies. Like that's the dream. Like that's so cute. I was just so like smiling from ear to ear when I was watching the whole thing. It's just like so cute. So freaking cute.
And I figured that she was just gonna come on and maybe be a little bit of she was a character. She was funny, but I thought she was gonna be like hyperbole, like sort of his, like how Riley does the impression of his own mom. Like she could have come out there and just kind of been this really goofy character and really played off of what they were doing, but not really known what they were talking about. But it was the fact that she's been so involved with the show, watching it with Brett, getting equally as upset about the comment section as he does.
Yeah.
And she knew her movies. I thought that was so cool that she did the Tuesday nights, whatever. Ellis called it Cougar Night or whatever. I just thought that was really awesome that she came on and knew her stuff about movies and had been taking him to movies since he was a kid. And that was just really cool because that's not really something that I share with either of my parents. So... But it was really, really fun to watch that. And honest to God, people in the chat room were going nuts for Brett's mom, and people were rooting for her to just come on the show full time. I could not agree more. Like, if they renamed the segment and just called it like the Sheridans and reviewed movies, I would love it. My goodness. Like, they should start a YouTube channel. They should start a YouTube channel, even though I know that she's in Nebraska, I think she said. Just make it work. Move to LA, whatever you got to do. I will subscribe immediately. And also kind of appreciated that they talked about The Revenant. And I mostly agreed with what they said about The Revenant. A lot of funny... Oh, okay. Well, sorry. You agree with Christian. I loved, and again, the chat room, there's shitbags on there, but it was a real treat watching people go crazy for her, and all the jokes about his name, or his mom's name being Martha or whatever, were cracking me up. Also loved how Christian asked her what she liked about the show, and she was really honest. I was actually expecting more from this answer, but I think she was just being nice, but not that she didn't mean it, but she probably just didn't want to go any further. But she talked about the chemistry. And obviously, that's why we have podcasts like this. That's why we have the Facebook group. It's because we just love this whole environment. I loved that she is down, and you probably love this too. She is down on JTE. Yeah. That was her downgrade to the show.
Yeah. Yeah, Mama Martha, come on. Get down on JTE. Wow, that sounded wrong. Holy shit. Don't go down on JTE. That's not what I meant.
Yeah, maybe not. Oh, that. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned that video though, but did you watch that video on SK Podcast channel? Don't go down on him.
Yes, it was so funny.
Oh
Holy shit. I was laughing more at that video than any other podcast video that they put up.
Copster, RB3, Cody, all the guys involved with that video. I think that is the only video that I've watched like 3 or 4 times that you all have done. So kudos. That was my favorite video for sure. Let's see what else. Okay, so last week we had Christian on the episode, and I asked him a question about how he said that Scott Mance was going to be on the show, and he revealed what Schmoography was going to be, which he did talk about tonight. I thought he would have talked about it, but he didn't. And I sort of just asked him, what does it mean when people are like regulars on the show? And what does it mean when people have segments? Because the only really consistent segment is Brett to the Future. I mean, he's been absent like a couple of times, but it's a consistent segment. Sasha's Indie Picks is the news, but then there's all these other ones that are kind of just thrown in sometimes. And I asked him what does it mean when someone has a segment? Because, Ace hasn't done an animated segment in forever.
Yeah.
So I don't know how often he's going to be on the show. I think this plays into sort of my thoughts on Collider in general right now. The stuff that I'm appreciating more and more is just the stuff where I'm learning. Like Ace's animation, they changed the name like 3 times tonight, but the animation segment I really enjoyed watching because I don't really know much at all about I mean, does this play into your interests, or are you kind of agreeing with me how it kind of just it teaches you, or gives you great suggestions to watch? Or
yeah, Superman sounds really promising. Like, I want to check that out immediately because I love Superman. But Avatar, I've never really got into. I tried getting into it whenever I was a kid, but I never really gravitated towards it. But might give it another shot just because of Ace. I love this segment, and like I'm really wishing that it happened more often because like he is great, and he knows his way around a mic, and he loves animation, obviously, so like it's super beneficial to me.
For sure. And I think again he's good on the mic too, the few times that I've seen him on. And of course he did the Schmoeville podcast here, and you can definitely go back and check that out, guys. He was great on that. I just want to mention, Ken Knapsack, we love the news, blah blah blah. I was on the ground laughing because this played into my just my style of comedy in general. Like I love to
VR.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I lost my mind when that's super, easily edgy.
Super like hard to tell that joke because like obviously it's like a touchy subject, but man, he killed it. Super edgy, and I love that type of comedy, and it felt like more so than like, I don't want to say this in a mean way, but like Ken Knapsack, he there's a few jokes, not all of them. There are a few that like it's like Twitter material, like just things that the things that people say on Twitter, and they're funny too. But it's just kind of like there's few like nuggets in the news that make me crack up, and that sort of like gave me like a vibe of what his stand-up might be like, because it was more of a broad joke. It just wasn't about movie news necessarily, playing into the VR aspect of it. But I mean, it just felt really different, and it was edgy, and I had to talk about that joke. It was so good. Yeah, it killed me. He like him doing that was so goddamn funny. No pun intended. And
that's so dumb.
He should do stand up again, because if that was Ken on stand up, I want to see Ken on stand up all the time, because I was dying laughing because it was so funny and so edgy and so good. I would have killed to see the chat at that point in time because I'm sure they were losing it too.
By the way, I know this was more on topic of last week's show, but what did you think about him last week when he basically revealed that he just doesn't watch movies and Christian called him a grumpy old man? Isn't that just the weirdest thing? Like, did you know?
My God, like, no. That's so weird to me.
It just kind of blew my mind. And even after Christian kind of explained it a little bit, like his attitude, but I was just kind of like, you know what? It's kind of like, I don't know. It just, it blows my mind. And it kind of reminds me of, like, I have this theory, like Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, I have this theory that he's not actually interested in basketball because he looks like a kid who sat by himself at lunch and wouldn't know anything about sports. So it's kind of funny that's what I thought of when I found out that Ken doesn't like movies. It kind of, that's how I portrayed Adam Silver in my head. But anyway, that just kind of blew my mind. I don't know, man. Like I said, there was a huge chunk of this show that I didn't get to watch, unfortunately, and we can't really talk about the Q&A. But overall, I thought this was a great hour of the Schmoes Know show that I was able to watch.
Yeah, backed. Great show tonight, from what I saw.
What does backed mean?
Like, same, agreed. I back your statement.
Is that some Indianapolis
No,
term?
It's not. It's just a term. It's just backed. I back your statement.
I like saying retweet. That's what I say.
Reblog.
When someone says something.
Share.
No, I'm not a Tumblr guy. But when someone says something I like, I usually just say, retweet. Backed. Interesting. Backed. Okay. But yeah, I enjoyed the show, and again, to talk about pissed off Ellis, that was great. The last thing I want to discuss, what's up with Makuga? He was off his game today. I felt like he was like a background character because he spent time on his phone. That's not really new, but it's like he was just kind of in the background tonight.
Yeah, he was.
Eating a Jell-O shot or cutting a Jell-O shot up with a knife. I just thought, what's his deal?
Here's my thing with Makuga. Where is the Wildman? Where's that dude? Because I feel like this is a completely different dude. Because the past few episodes, I feel like
he was drinking on camera.
Yeah, that's true. But like, I just feel like he hasn't been the Wildman lately, and I miss that. I want the Wildman back. Josh, step up your game.
He must be more focused on his career, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. Like, hosting TV talk, and he's writing for Comic-Con HQ. I guess he's just settling down. I think he's got a girlfriend because I follow him on Instagram. I mean, Makuga's different. I don't know what to say. He's different. I don't know what to think about him. Makuga, give me something. Have you seen Josh Makuga show lately? I haven't seen it since it went on the hiatus.
I saw the episode where Clark Wolf was on. That was the last episode that I watched, I think.
He's different, man.
Yeah, he is.
I might have to get him on the podcast, and we'll confront him about it. Anyway, I don't know, man. I think that about wraps it up. I mean, the podcast this week was probably pathetic because I was so busy, and I wasn't. Not that we could have talked about Game of Thrones anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was just a huge chunk that I hope all the Game of Thrones fans out there had a blast. By the way. Because I heard that it was a excellent finale, and talk of the town was everything that happened in Game of Thrones. So obviously we knew that's what they were going to talk about. So, and by the way, since I host this podcast, but I'm not able to get free merch from Christian and Mark, I also ordered a couple shirts because the baseball tee that I bought shrunk.
Dude.
And so I wasn't happy with the material that it came in, and it shrunk, and it's rendered useless. What, do you have a merchandise story?
Shirts from Schmoes Know are like either fantastic or they're like okay. And like every shirt that I've bought from Schmoes Know, I have the Wanger shirt, I have the new logo shirt, and I have the Jedi shirt.
Yeah.
And like all of them are like a medium because I wear a medium normally, but sometimes I buy a large because I don't know if a medium's going to fit me or not. And the mediums are like to my belly button. They're like so short, and like I'm 5'10", and I'm pretty average size. I'm skinny a little bit, but like I feel like these shirts, like they're just so tight and they're so like small, and I'm gonna have to start ordering a large, which sucks because like the 3 shirts I have don't fit me, and like one of them's the baseball tee, in which I love that I bought that, but it sucks because I spent like $25 on it and it doesn't fit me, so that sucks, but whatever, I guess.
Yeah, t-shirts freak me out in general because I don't have any idea how they're going to shrink in the wash, or sometimes they just fit differently. They're like different. Somehow a t-shirt can come in different shapes. So the baseball tee that I had was Schmoeville, the Sesame Street, and that shrunk. And well, maybe I got fatter, but whatever. And so I got a couple more shirts, and I'm fingers crossed that they come in. They're both medium, that they come in and fit perfectly. So we'll see. I got the Star Wars one. No, wait. I got the I got the Star Wars one in black, and then I got the Lucasfilm in green. Just because I'm basic, but I also just love the logos. I love simple t-shirts, and yeah,
same.
So I went with those. But anyway, you're welcome, Christian. Let's just kind of wrap it up. Overall, what I saw this week was good stuff, and yeah. Do you have any final words?
Nope. Super
All
good
right.
show tonight.
Yeah. I appreciate you coming on last minute for sure. Next week, I'm hoping to get Roka on again. Go check out the Schmoes Know podcast channel, like wherever you can listen to podcasts, whether it be iTunes, whatever. It's also on Podcast One. That's our new home. So if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to that and also get all the other goodness that they're putting out. And if you are listening to us there already, then go to the SK Podcast YouTube channel, because we're also there, and give that page some love. I think there's only like 28,000 fans or whatever, so we'd like to see those numbers increase as well. Thank you to everyone who enjoyed my episode with Christian. I got a lot of love for that, and I had a blast. I mean, that was like a dream come true, because I've been kind of closer with Ellis since I've met these guys, but Christian is sort of the guy that I look up to. I try to model what I do with like Film Beef and everything, sort of what they've done with Schmoes. So that was just kind of a dream come true to be able to do that.
Same, super jealous, by the way.
Oh, take
Hi,
that.
Christian.
So yeah, that was great. And if you haven't listened to it already, make sure you go back. Anyway, Luke, thanks again for joining me last minute. Where can the people find you?
All right, here we go. Here comes the plugs. Hope you're ready.
Uh-oh.
Twitter, Instagram, @Luke_Jaggers. You can follow me there. You can follow me on the YouTubes. Search The Drunk Nerd, and our show will come up. We're doing gaming videos. We're doing movie reviews. We're doing podcasts. We're doing all kinds of stuff over there. So check all that out if you want to. I'm in a band called Old Poet. You can check us out. We're a metal hardcore band from Indianapolis. If we could be potentially coming to your city, we're looking at playing shows all around the Midwest this summer. Also, I have a blog. I think it's just lukeaaronjaggers.blogspot.com. If you're into that sort of thing where I just talk about random stuff, I did a Blogspot post about Zootopia a while back, speaking of movies and stuff, that you can go check out. And then I think that's about it, to my knowledge. Am I missing anything, Ryan? I don't think I am.
I don't think you mentioned Geekery Collective.
Geekery Collective, that is our YouTube channel name. Drunk Nerd is one of the shows on the Geekery Collective. You can follow us on Twitter @GeekeryCo.
And again, follow me on Twitter @FilmBeefSnell, and make sure that you're following me because you can stay up to date on what I'm doing with the podcast. I'm going to talk about it more throughout the week, and you'll know what guests I have on, whether we do Q&As or whatever. And we also try to get that in the Facebook group as well. So there's that. And also check out Film Beef, my movie review podcast. We also have a YouTube channel up as well. I put every podcast up on that. We're recapping. We just finished recapping Game of Thrones, which Roka was on with us. Preacher, Animal Kingdom, and of course the weekly movie review. And you can find that podcast wherever you listen to podcasts and the YouTube channel. And thanks to all the people who came over from Schmoeville and started checking out my stuff too. I just always appreciate that. I'll be back next week. Make sure you tweet at Roca, get them on, or tell them you want them on Schmoeville. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.